Supposed to answer the question, no, I'm not angry. And I said, you know, you have to think on your feet pretty quickly, right? I said, actually, you're right, I'm angry. But I'm not an angry person, believe it or not. I'm not an angry person. But when I see the Iran deal, and when I see every single thing that we do, when I see Sergeant Bergdahl, who's a traitor, and we get Sergeant Bergdahl, and they get 5 killers that they've coveted for 9 years that will be back and probably are already back on the battlefield killing people and would like to kill us. That's the way we trade. And by the way, 5 or 6 people were killed looking, wonderful young military people, killed looking for Sergeant Bergdahl. So we get Bergdahl, a dirty, rotten traitor, and they get 5 killers that they want and they've coveted for 9 years. Not such a good deal. Do you agree with that? So, we don't make good deals. Honestly, whether it's military, whether it's buying drugs, you know, the drug companies and the pharmaceutical companies take care of the people on the stage. They take care of all of the people that you see in Washington. And a friend of mine, a doctor, comes up to me and says, you know, amazingly, Donald, we don't bid. This country, the United States, largest purchaser of drugs, to make you better, largest purchaser of drugs in the world. We don't bid. We pay like market value. We just pay a fortune. If we bid, we'd save hundreds of billions of dollars a year. Think of it. Think of it. So he asked me, he's a doctor, very good doctor, although he hates Obamacare, and he's probably going to close up shop because he said he has more accountants than he has nurses, and that's somewhat disturbing. But he said to me, how does that happen? And I immediately do. I said, that means the senators, the congressmen, the people that make the decision, they're all legally taken care of through campaign contributions, through special interests, right? Through special interests, through lobbyists. They're all taken care of. We're going to start bidding, folks. And when they call me up and say, well, you shouldn't do that to the drug companies, I'm going to say, don't worry about it. They can take care of themselves. We're going to save so much money. We're going to save so much money. And we're going to bid on the military. You see it all the time, where the military is ordering equipment that they don't want. And the stuff they want, they don't bid on. Because that company doesn't have political connections into Washington, D.C. Okay? So it's going to stop. It's going to stop, and it's going to stop dead. We're going to start bidding properly. Maybe on drugs, as an example, we do a favored nations. We say, anybody that buys it, you get the lowest price, less 10%, because we buy so much. We'll save $300 billion. $300 billion! Now, with me, that's going to happen. With any of the other people, no, because the lobbyists will take care of them. I know many of the lobbyists. You've been seeing in some of the debates where the room is stacked with lobbyists and special interests, many of whom I know. They're waving to me and laughing as they're booing me. They're out there. They're friends of mine. And they're booing, oh, boo, boo, and they're laughing and waving to me in the room. The room was stacked. 3 times it got stacked. Actually, last night it was pretty good. They sort of liked me. It was a weird deal. Last night, I don't know what happened. What happened? They must be running low on money because they hear that I'm going to be involved, and there's no way that they're going to make all this money anymore. They make a fortune. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all that. And we're going to bid out drugs. And we're going to bid out medical. We're going to bid out everything. And we're going to save so much money. We're going to save Social Security. We're going to save Medicare. We're going to save them, folks. By the way, we're getting rid of Common Core. We're going to have local education. Right? Local education. So, in the world, the top 30, we're 30th. We're number 1 in cost per pupil, and we're 30th. You know, think of this. Thank you. I love you too, darling, wherever you are. We're number 30 in terms of education. We're number 1 in terms of cost. And number 2 doesn't exist because it's so much less expensive. So you have Denmark and you have other countries. You have Denmark, you have Sweden, you have Norway, you have China. And you have the United States is number 30. You have countries that you've never even heard of that are beating the United States. Now, this is analogous to something that I talk about. My campaign. I've spent just about the least amount of money, and I'm in first place. It's the exact opposite. Now, and I actually took some ads recently for 2 reasons. Number 1, I don't want to take a chance. And number 2, I feel guilty not doing it. You know, I feel like a little guilty. Some of these guys have spent $158 million. $158 million. In New Hampshire, which I won, I was the lowest. And I won. In South Carolina, I was the lowest, and I won. In Nevada, I was the lowest, and I won. And when I say won, I mean won by a landslide, folks. That wasn't even close. We won with evangelicals. We won with the military. We won with the vets. We won with rich people. We won with a little less than rich. We won with great people. We won with amazing people. Because the people in our country are amazing people. No matter where you go, amazing people. So I spent the least, and I have the best result. Wouldn't it be great if the United States could do that? Wouldn't it be great? Right? Wouldn't that be great? I'll be opening a very big and beautiful building soon, the old post office on Pennsylvania Avenue. We're ahead of schedule by almost 2 years. Think of that. 2 years. We're ahead of schedule by 2 years, under budget, and the building is going to be far better than anybody even knew. It's going to be one of the great hotels of the world, right on Pennsylvania Avenue. And here's my attitude. You know, if you want a good piece of real estate, always get the post office. You know why? They were there first. They always had the best location. So in Washington, D.C., I have the old post office, which is an incredible building, built in 1888, and it's incredible. Walls that are 4 feet thick of solid granite. The building is one of the most beautiful buildings in the country. It's going to be one of the great hotels of the world. But wouldn't it be really something if we could say that we build our infrastructure and we can build it ahead of schedule and under budget, as opposed to costing 5 and 10 times more than it's supposed to cost? Wouldn't that be great? And we're going to do that, folks. We're going to do that. We're going to have people that are really great. You know, we have the greatest business people in the world are in the United States. Carl Icahn endorsed me, one of the great business people. We are going to take these people and we are going to let them work on our trade deals. And you can go home and relax and we are going to do very well. I know these people, and they may be nice, and some may not be nice, and who cares? The fact is, we have the greatest business people in the world. They want to do it so badly. They love the country, too. They're rough, they're smart, they're this, they got a lot of things going. But I want to tell you, they don't want money. They want no money. But if instead of having a political hack negotiating with Japan and China and India, if we had our greatest business people doing it, wouldn't it be nice overseeing it? That's what's going to happen. You are going to see numbers. I'll tell you what. You are going to see numbers in this country like you've never seen before. You're going to see numbers, and it's going to be rapidly. It's going to be rapidly. And I'll tell you the other thing. We'll end up with better, and remember this, we'll end up with better relationships with those countries than we have right now. Right now, they're ripping us off from A to Z. They laugh at us. They have no respect for us, and they don't like us. We are going to change that around. And our military, we defend everybody. We get very little money to defend. We get peanuts. People are laughing at us. We defend Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, before the oil went down, was making $1 billion a day. We defend them for what? Nothing. Practically nothing. We defend South Korea. Every time you order something, televisions, air conditioners, other than Carrier, which comes right out of Mexico, right? But South Korea, You take a look at that. We have the madman in North Korea. We have 28,000 soldiers on the line. We get practically nothing. We defend Germany. We defend Japan. If we're attacked, Japan doesn't have to do anything. If they're attacked, we have to defend them. We don't have our right thinking caps on. So, folks, we're going to change that. And let me tell you, this doesn't sound very conservative, but believe me, it's the most conservative thing you can do. With Carrier, we're going to tell Carrier, congratulations on your new air conditioning plant right smack in the middle of Mexico. And we hope you do really well. But here's the story, folks. You left the United States. You're going to make air conditioners for the United States. Every single time you make an air conditioner and you move that air conditioner across our border, which will now be secured, you're going to pay a 35% tax on that air conditioner. Remember that. So Ford is moving big league, and now they're doubling down. They're moving even more than they said. They're building a $2.5 billion Ford plant, and now they're building more. They're going to have even more. Amazingly, in the papers the other day, they're doubling down. They're going even bigger. Because we don't have leadership that talks to Ford. We don't have leadership that says, we want you to stay in Michigan. We want you to stay in other places. We don't care where. It's got to be in the United States. We want you to stay there. We don't have anybody that talks. So they start a $2.5 billion plant. Nobody talks to them, and now they're going out with even more. It doesn't help us. And I will tell you, I'm going to have a very, very serious talk with Congress. If I win, which I think we have a pretty good shot, don't you think? And I'm a free trader, but the trade has to be smart. We can't be stupid traders. Right now, folks, we're not free traders. We're stupid traders. China sends their stuff in no tax. When we send things to China, it's taxed. 100%. It's taxed. They tax. I have a friend who's a great manufacturer. He said dealing with China is impossible. He can't get his product in, and when he does, every once in a while, they put a big tariff on it. They call it a tariff because they don't like the word tax. Same thing. They put a big, beautiful tariff on it. And I said, did you tell anybody this? He said, no, I didn't tell anybody. Well, you told me, so I'm going to tell the world. China, it's a one-sided deal, folks, and you can't have that. So I'm a free trader, but it has to be fair trade. It has to be smart trade for us. And believe me, nobody can do this stuff better than me. Nobody. Nobody. It is destroying our country, okay? We cannot continue to do what we're doing. We cannot continue to be the policeman of the entire world and not get reimbursed. We cannot continue to let these companies and these countries come in and just steal our jobs, steal them. Thousands and thousands of factories, thousands and thousands of jobs, millions of jobs just gone. And now you look at the phony stats. We have possibly a 25% unemployment rate. And when you see that 5% rate, don't believe it. Because when you stop looking for a job, you're immediately statistically put on a list and you're considered employed. It's a phony list, and it's a phony number to make the politicians look better. That's all that number is. It's not a real number. And just a couple of more things. And I love you, and I love you for being out here, and I love this crowd. This is amazing. I love it. I love it. So we're getting rid of Common Core. We're bringing our education locally. We are terminating 100%. Repeal Obamacare. Repeal. And replace Obamacare. That will happen, and it will happen quickly because it's a disaster. Do you see what's happening to your rates? You have Obamacare going up 25, 35, 45, 55%. And it's bad. It doesn't even work. And your deductibles are so high, you'll never use them unless it's about over. Unless you go to the most expensive hospital in the world and you stay there for the rest of your life. It's a real